So Matt Reeves has finished the Batman Part 2 script. He posted on, I think it was Instagram today or yesterday, whatever time you're watching this, that the script has been finished and handed in. I think it's just like a first fully completed draft at this point. But this is some pretty big motion within the Batman sequel, within what's coming. And it's kind of interesting because just like a week ago or something, James Gunn came out and said everyone needs to stop rushing Matt, let him take his time. And he sort of threw a little bit of shade. He was like, oh, Matt's slow. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why he would say that. Just say like, oh, he's taking his time. But anyway, so yeah, it seems that the script is finished. This is actually happening. There's been a lot of like rumors recently going around that is the Batman Part 2 cancelled? Why are they doing two Batman? Which I still do question that. But it appears the first draft is this is a real movie. It is happening. It is written, and hopefully we'll get some motion on it soon, like some shooting maybe. But the thing is, everybody within that cast seems pretty booked and busy at the moment. Like Robert Pattinson's going to be in Dune 3. Who knows when that's going to happen, though, because Denis Villeneuve is also doing Bond. So, there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't see this movie coming out anytime before 2028, 2029. Maybe probably 2028 is safer, but I don't see it coming out any time before that. I think, you know, they're taking their time with this, and they really have been. And I think it's interesting because the Batman 2, when did that come out? 2022. No, the Batman 1 came out in 2022, right? And everybody loved it immediately. You know what I mean? It was widely praised. It made about 700 million USD international, like worldwide, which is quite good. You know what I mean? Especially because of it being a new, universe and new actor, new Batman actor. It's a first time for that version of Batman, and so it did quite well. And so there was a lot of speculation, why isn't a sequel being immediately worked on and greenlit? You know what I mean? And so to that, I would say it is good that he's taken his time to get it right. That's what Matt Reeves has said throughout the whole thing, is that he wants to take his time to get it right. James Gunn has said he will not greenlight any scripts that he does not feel um, of quality and are good. And so that's why they recently scrapped the Sergeant Rock movie with Luca Guadagnino directing, and I think Daniel Craig was going to be in it, but they scrapped it because the script wasn't good, and so that movie's not going ahead, at least not now. And the Clayface movie, that's a movie that's I think it's in the I don't know if it's in the Batman universe or in the DCU. I think it's in the DCU, James Gunn's universe. But they went ahead with that movie because it's doing well, because the script is written well rather. And so that just shows what the DCU is sort of going for. They're going for quality over certain types of things, but yeah, there's also a lot of, question as to why Robert Pattinson's Batman isn't being folded into the DCU, and some would say they'd prefer him to remain separate. They'd prefer, him to be fully, done by Matt Reeves and have the universes be separate. To that, I mean, either way, to me, I think if the Batman stays in his own universe, I would be fine with that. But I think from a business standpoint and from a logical standpoint, it would make more sense to just have him folded into the DCU. I don't know why they're doing two Batman at the same time. I don't think the general audience will get confused, but I think they'll just be like, well, why? Because this hasn't happened before, having two major cinematic characters played by of the same character played by different actors, existing at the same time. You know what I mean? And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see if they do end up doing it. I think what the rumor that was going around like a year ago or something, is that James Gunn asked him if he could ask Matt Reeves if he could bring the Batman into the DCU, and Matt Reeves said no, he wanted to keep it separate, which I mean, James Gunn is the head of DC, so he can just he can just say, no, well, I want him in this universe, so he's going to be. You know what I mean? But I guess he wants to keep Matt Reeves happy, which is fair enough, because we do want Matt Reeves to stay on Batman, because he did do such a good job with that first movie. The first movie was incredible. I loved it. And so, yeah, I just think it would make more sense to have Pattinson in the DCU. I think him and Corin Sweat go really well together. You know what I mean? I feel like they would work really well. They clearly are a very what's the word, obvious contrast to each other. And I think, everyone's saying, oh, these two characters, or I hear people on Twitter and social media saying, these two characters, look at how different they are. They can't exist in the same universe. This can't possibly be the same universe. Gotham and Batman and Superman are like opposites. You know what I mean? A universe does not all have to have the same tone. They're going to have different tones. And I think they would work well together. I would do it if I was, working at DC, or if I was the head of DC or whatever. I would make that decision, and I would try to convince Matt Reeves to keep working on Batman, but just have him be in this universe. And you don't have to make the movie all connected to the DCU, like have it like dropping Easter eggs everywhere and like post credit scenes and stuff like that. But just have it exist in there for future possibilities of crossovers. You know what I mean? Like a Justice League movie or whatever they're planning to do for their crossover, which they're eventually leading to, or DCU crossover that's not including Pattinson at this point, or Pattinson, whatever. At this point, and so I just think that would be the better move. But it is what it is. I don't work there. If it stays the way it is, it's fine to me because we're still getting a Batman Part Two, which I'm thrilled about because the movie is incredible, and I think Robert Pattinson does such a great job. But it is interesting the direction DC is going in, especially with everything riding on Superman right now. Everything is riding on this movie. And if this movie does not connect with the general audience and does not make a lot of money, I think they will probably, honestly, to be honest, that would make more sense to me. Is James Gunn is more likely to force Matt Reeves to bring the Batman into the DCU if Superman flops, just to get that audience in. Do you know what I mean? Because if this flops, then it'll be over. I'm having a separate video about that coming out soon, probably tomorrow, about the why Superman needs to work. But I don't know why he's not in there. I think he should be, but it is what it is. But yeah, so this is good news. The Batman Part Two is moving forward. Written by and directed by Matt Reeves, and I think someone else is writing it. I forgot his name. We don't know many plot details about it at all. The rumor is that Mr. Freeze is going to be the villain, which I would like. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know when it takes place. I think it takes place. I'm not even going to say. I think I heard like on Twitter or something that it takes place like a few months after the Batman Part Two, when the city's still flooded or something of that nature. But yeah, we don't know any plot details. I don't even think we know if Zoe Kravitz is returning as Catwoman, which would be a mistake because she was so great as Catwoman. But yeah, look, seeing Robert Pattinson go up against Mr. Freeze in the Batman Part 2 would be incredible. And I can't wait to see what comes of this movie. I don't see it coming out for a long time, but I am very, very excited for it. And the script is done. The script has been being written for years, and the script is done, which is great news. The movie is moving forward. It is not cancelled, which would have been the stupidest thing they could have done if they cancelled it just because James Gunn wants to have his own Batman, which that is what it is, and they haven't even cast that, but they reckon they're writing the movie. I don't know. I mean, there was an article in the Hollywood Reporter that cast doubt on them even having a writer for the new Batman movie, even though James Gunn said there was. But it is what it is. We'll let that flow. But anyway, that's it for this video. The Batman Part 2 script is done and ready. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Are you excited for the Batman Part 2? Do you think Robert Pattinson should be folded in with the DCU, or do you think they should remain separate? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.